Hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Talk Openly. I'm Jack, and I'm so grateful to be here tonight with my excellent friend Daniel. Hey, Daniel.
Hey buddy, how's it going?
It's good. I'm a little bit chaotic tonight. I'm like I feel like I'm a train, like a just kind of plowing through my day. So
I
that's a little
like it.
where my energy's at.
I like it. Your energy it feels like a rock star energy drink.
All right. Yeah. Oh God. That's terrible. Yeah, I'm not sure if to take that as a compliment.
It's
But
good. I mean it in the most positive of ways.
okay, excellent. Yeah, when you just want to get like juiced, right? You
That's
kind of,
right. Yeah, I
yeah, let's
feel I
go.
feel I feel juiced just seeing you.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel the
Yeah,
same about you. It's great. Daniel, we went to a retreat this last weekend.
that we did.
Yeah, it was for entering the path and refuge students of Lama Jempas. And I was just so glad to be in Sacramento with y'all. It was amazing.
Yeah, that was really quite beautiful. I really enjoyed it. I felt I was this is my second retreat. And the first one, I didn't really know what was going on, and like I was kind of like, wow, this I don't didn't know what to expect, and I still don't understand what happened.
Yeah.
Um, but I really enjoyed the community aspect of this retreat. I really enjoyed, really getting kind of just closer with everyone. That feeling of like where anytime that you spend time and space, with the same group of people repeatedly, over, like that, like in close proximity, for the same reasons, you get this camaraderie going, right? And I really love that. In addition to all of the teaching, I feel like my knowledge and my ability, whatever, the training that I received from Lama Jimpa was extraordinary and incredibly helpful. I have, I've been able to put some of it into practice and look to forward to putting more of it into practice. It's already amazing. So I'm
Yeah.
stoked. It was really quite amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, same for me. And I definitely had that same experience with my first retreat where I was just like, I don't know like a third of the words, that are, being discussed, and it just felt so advanced, and it is. But it's kind of cool. It's like each retreat you get to go a little bit deeper. And yeah, our teacher is just has is energetic, like in so many ways. And that was really powerful to experience as well.
Yeah,
And
it was pretty amazing that he was able to, each day was a long day.
yeah,
And even though there were a handful of breaks and there was some, definitely some meditation in there, there was a lot of instruction,
yes,
right? And what was amazing to me was that he could do it, right? Like it's really hard to pull that off, right? 2 days of intense instruction without without any notes. I didn't see any type of,
yeah,
I know he was prepared, don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but I just mean that, like he wasn't like reading from a manuscript or anything, and it was just so dense, right? The teachings were full, complete, and I thought that part was really cool. And
yeah,
I thought the other part that I found really interesting was how times like I could feel the sort of saturation, in being there for so long, right? With this sort of these intense teachings. And at the same time, it went by quickly.
I know. Yeah, it's really fascinating how time passes during
Yeah.
retreat. Because it would be like 11 a.m. and I'd be like, we've done a lot already. But then the day would go so fast. So it
Yeah.
is kind of fascinating. Um, and yeah, like you were saying, you know, no notes, right, from Rinpoche, but what I think is showing up there, of course, is his incredible intelligence, but it's like this confidence, right? This like real confidence that like training and study in the Dharma can give us, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like I could feel that. And that's really, I think that's something really important about the guru principle is like, being able to be in your guru's presence and like feel, like really feel their confidence in the teachings, that then gives us like this confidence that like, okay, I can do it. I can do it.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
stick with it, right?
It's
Um,
inspiring. The other part that was so trippy, and I know that this is something I've talked to other Sangha members before, that, and this experience is not uncommon. But the part that kind of weirded me out a little bit was at the beginning of each session on Saturday and Sunday, I had a range of thoughts, questions, things that I was like grappling with or wanting to understand better. Um, and then he would address that.
yeah.
And then when there was like, like while he was talking, I'd be formulating and be like, well, okay,
Right,
I have a question about that. I have,
right.
something that a point I want to make, or a question I have about it. And then either he would just answer it without me asking it, or somebody else would ask the question and he'd answer it.
Right.
I had no, throughout the whole retreat, I didn't ask any questions or anything because I got
Yeah.
everything answered.
I'm laughing because that was my exact experience as well.
Yeah.
Where it was like there would be times where I'd just be like, thinking on something that he was saying, and then the next sentence would be like an
Yeah.
answer to that question.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just this kind of like pure presence, right? This and it feels very magical, right? But I think what is like what's happening there is like that presence of enlightenment means that you're able to sense what's happening with people. Like that's what kind of omniscience is like, you really get people's vibes. You understand where they're
Yeah.
coming from. And so he was just like totally on this last weekend, and it was just really cool to witness.
Yeah. Really quite magical.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. On top of that, it was also pouring rain for much of the retreat, all of Saturday, right? And there was just this kind of this mood of the rain, which was really cool. So I enjoyed that as well.
Yeah, I like the sort of the ambiance that was afforded by the weather.
Yeah,
And I also thought it was kind of neat, at least for myself, to experience I went through sort of a range of emotions during the retreat,
yeah,
which kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting anything in particular. And I had this sort of intense, buoyed, happy, whatever sort of experience on Saturday. And then it was like it was brought down on Sunday, like not in any kind of negative way, but just this like it was almost like the heaviness, right? And then this like my mind, I could just see that my mind was really taking this in and like chewing on it, right? And the implications of it were big, I was just like, whoa.
yeah,
Okay. So it was
yeah,
sort of heavy on Sunday, not again, not in any negative way, just sort of in my own processing way.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, folks out there, if you're listening and don't have a teacher or a sangha or have been on retreat, it's really an experience, and I encourage you to check out different centers and get vouch some teachers out, check them out. And yeah, because it's very powerful. So it's happy to be with you there, Daniel. It was excellent.
Yeah, so pleasant to be with you as well, Jack. It was wonderful. Thank you for coming down. I know it was a bit of a trip for you, but well
Yeah.
worth it in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I forgot to mention we're going to be talking about Tara tonight, the female Buddha Tara. And she came to my aid on my drive down. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that later on.
Oh, that's fantastic. No,
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
yeah,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, hey, you want to update me on your practice since the retreat? What's been going on?
Mostly just coming down from it. But no, I feel actually a little bit of like I have more to do now.
Yep.
So I felt like I kind of got loaded up, right? And that's fantastic, right? Like I'm not complaining about it, but there is a little bit of well, I was doing this much, right? And now I'm kind of like, oh, there's more to do.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I think that I think I can find a balance with it. And interesting, so the retreat ended on Sunday, and I do Tara practice on Monday mornings, so it's kind of perfect because just yesterday I was doing that and over at the temple, and yeah, quite an enjoyable experience. And taking in one of the things that Rinpoche was talking about had to do with meditate, using the Tara mantra for meditation. And
great,
I've already put that into practice and found it to be quite helpful.
nice, great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Can I tell you a quick story that's not really practice related though?
please, yeah. It's
So
all related.
yeah, yeah, it is all related. So in this case, it was probably me coming to the aid of sentient beings. This morning, I went out for a little dog walk, and immediately I heard these other dogs barking down the street. And I was like, well, I got kind of curious, and I looked, and just right around the corner here, in the middle of a street, was a dog crate, like the little kennel things, right?
Oh,
And it was right in the middle of the street. And I thought, oh gosh, somebody dropped off some puppies or something.
oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh gosh, okay. And there were cars driving around, going around it and stuff. And I was like, oh gosh, this is no good. And then I saw that actually there was a dog outside of it that was barking at it. It was
Oh,
a little pit bull was sitting there barking into the kennel. And I thought, oh gosh, oh no, what if it's like a mom dog and the puppies are in the and
yeah.
then I see a German Shepherd running around it, right? And I thought, gosh, this is like some kind of a crazy zoo. Like, what the hell's going on here? So I walk up and I look inside the crate, and there are two guinea pigs in there.
What?
Yeah, two healthy looking guinea pigs. Like somebody had decided to abandon them in the middle of the road. Um, Whatever, I don't understand it. I mean, I guess maybe I can understand some of it, but the
Yeah.
why they put it in the middle of the road, I couldn't get. And then there were these two dogs. So then there's this one of my neighbors drove by and was like, "What's going on?" I tell him what's happening. He says, "Well, my kids have always wanted guinea pigs. Give me that. I'll take the guinea pigs and
Oh my goodness.
make my kids stay. They'll have a happy life. I have a good place for them."
Oh,
And so he immediately took them, right?
yeah.
And then I was able to get the two dogs, the pit bull and the German Shepherd, into the backyard, and they are still there right now. They're
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, male and a female, very, very, very sweet. They look well taken care of, but I don't know if they were like dumped with the guinea pigs or if they like they got out and were just running around and stumbled on the guinea pigs. But it was a strange, strange affair. It was really the weirdest thing that happened all day.
Yeah, I bet. And
Yeah.
hopefully all week.
Yeah, yeah, same.
Yeah.
I hope so too. Yeah. So anyway, got to
Yeah.
take care of these little critters.
That is so bizarre. Well, thank you so much for doing that. And I'm really glad that the dogs were like amenable to your help and support. And 'cause
Yeah.
sometimes dogs are a little bit like fearful, right? When they're out.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it turns out I think they're like a bonded couple or something because the
oh,
German Shepherd was super scared. Like it was very, very skittish. But the pit bull was kind of sweet, and I just, when I walked with her, the German Shepherd followed me,
yeah.
and now at this point I've given them really good homemade chicken, and
Oh,
like it been hanging out with them a bit. So now they're both like we've taken to each other. It's all good.
yeah.
But
That's fantastic.
if you hear a bunch of yipping in the background, it's because the three dogs that live with us regularly
Oh
are
my God.
not too happy about the fact that they can't go in the backyard, because we don't really want them mixing yet. And so yeah, you might hear some Chihuahua barking.
Yeah. Okay. Well, good to know. Um, yeah, wow, what a story.
Yeah,
And it's breaking up a little bit on my side. Not sure if it is on yours.
it is.
That
It
might
is.
be because my internet is still.
It does say that there's some kind of a issue with the internet, but hopefully it'll get resolved quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me okay. Maybe that is that better?
Yeah, you're fine. It's all good. Like
Not
just
quite.
yeah.
Okay.
The little internet symbol turned from red, which was bad, to yellow, which was okay, and now it's white.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, we'll just keep rolling.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, one good sign about that, Daniel, I think is like, um, when animals can feel safe with us, like I feel like that's like a good sign that we're regulating our own stuff, right? Uh,
Yeah, good point. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
especially like big dogs that, are kind of trained. Some of them are trained to be uh aggressive, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like these ones were like, yeah, we'll come chill with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all good. It's all good. I hope they find their way home safely.
Me too. Yes,
And
me
I
too.
hope that home is not here.
Yeah, yeah. You got a lot going on already.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need any more dogs or animals or
Yeah.
anything around here. Yeah. So that's my zoo. I was reflecting on it today. I thought, I have zoos everywhere I go. There's a zoo in my mind. There's a zoo in my home. There's zoos in my neighborhood, zoos at work. Bunch of
Yep.
animals, all some of them caged up, others running loose. It's chaotic out here.
Yeah, for sure. That's samsara.
That's samsara. That's right. That's
You
right.
can learn how to work with the chaos. So
Yeah. How are you grappling with the chaos nowadays?
it's a good question. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the retreat come down has been really great. It's been uh yeah, in all things inspiring and motivating. Um, it was really hard to spring back like from that directly into work. Like um I had already taken like a week and a half off and so had to go to work Monday morning. So I flew
Mm.
in from Sacramento to Seattle on Monday morning and then went to work. And
Oof.
it was a little brutal. It was, I have to say. Um, but I was also like I was kind of in a like fun, a little bit like spacey mood where I was like, all right, let's just engage in whatever way I can. And my supervisor is also very chill. So he was like, it's your first day back, just take it easy. Don't feel like you need to do anything exceptional. Um, so yeah, it's just been kind of like I after retreat, I feel this uh difference in my connection with others. Like I'm a little bit, I notice more patience.
Yeah.
Um, like I
Yeah.
notice just more curiosity and like really wanting to see people. And so it was great. Today I had a couple groups on the inpatient psych and um I just I love people. It was like you could just feel like the little heart opening
Yeah.
happening. And it's just these really like I don't know if you've felt this before, but like these very just like subtle but also like kind of heartbreaking feelings of like love, for strangers where it's like, oh man, this is really amazing. Um So I think that's like, you know, that's definitely in large part due to retreat and being with each other and our teacher. I think it's also because of Tara practice. I do Tara practice every day, and I think I've been doing that for the last month. And I would like to continue doing Tara every day. Um, so I'm excited to talk about like, yeah, just those little shifts that I notice. But yeah, otherwise, I definitely have been noticing a change in how I approach shamatha as well, which is really great because shamatha doesn't feel like just kind of like a chore anymore. Like I'm checking the box, I gotta get my 24 minutes in, you know. Like it really feels like, oh, there's like so much here. Okay, let's do
Right,
it, you know.
right.
Um, so it's fun. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned all of that. I concur about the shift in the heart opening after the retreat, increased patience, curiosity, loving kindness towards people. It definitely got a boost. And also the meditation pointers, right? The that we received during the retreat definitely helped with my shamatha practice as well. I can tell already.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I was like, oh, like the three essential points uh from Garab Dorje, right? Like
Yeah.
that's been really helpful for shamatha, where I'm like, oh, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah. 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 For
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah, that was good stuff. So anyway, good.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, you know, I think on that note, we better
It's
just do
time.
some mind training.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, it's
Don't
all
get
mind training, right?
mind
Let's
training.
well,
That's right.
that's right.
Remember when Geshe Sewon came?
Oh yeah.
That was so great. And you know, we asked him about like, hey, you want to do some lojong, like lojong? And he was like, what do you mean lojong? You know? And he was like, it's all mind training, right? It's all mind
Yeah.
training. So these are
I do
yeah,
remember that. Every single time I think about it, I mean about Lojong slogans, I think about that. I'm like, right, it's the slogans that we're talking about
right,
here.
right, right.
A very particular, unique form of mind training.
Right. Yep. All right, let's check it out.
Okay, we're on the random Lojong slogan generator, which you can find at the lionsroar.dharmacenter.org website. Thank you, Dirk. Here we go. Let's press the button.
Ooh.
Ooh, a good one. Okay.
Good one. So this is number 55, and it says, find freedom through investigation and examination. So let's see. So it's Sei Chilbu Choki Gyaltsen, translated by Tutin Jinpa. First, investigate which affliction is most dominant in your mind and earnestly apply its specific antidote, striving hard to subdue the affliction. Then, analyze the way deluded mental projections arise in relation to the objects that act as their bases. By applying the antidotes, you reduce the force of the afflictions or prevent their arising. By repeatedly thinking, from here on, I will never allow my mind stream to be tainted by these afflictions, you cultivate familiarity with the protective armor for the future. Thus, with these twin methods for applying antidotes to past and future afflictions, strive diligently to eliminate the afflictions. Great. So that was some commentary on this Lojong slogan. Um, and yeah, there's a lot there, huh? So looking at different antidotes and that we can apply them to both past and future afflictions. How interesting.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I mean, if you want to summarize mind training, that's it, right?
Yeah.
And in many ways, this is exactly what we're on about, is what is it that's disturbing us? What's causing our suffering? Yeah, and we can look at it moment by moment and see, oh, right, there was an object, something, right, that triggered a particular response in my mind. I grasped onto it, I became attached, or I found it aversive, or maybe I was ignoring it, right? Whatever it is. And then we begin to, yeah, the antidotes are innumerable, right? There's a ton of um, mm, afflictions, right? And there's a ton
Mhm.
of antidotes for those afflictions. What
Yeah.
are there's like there's a numbered list. It's like a huge number, right? I can't remember the particular number for the list of afflictions and antidotes, but it's
Oh
long.
yeah. That'd be good to check out. We should do a show on that.
We should. Let's do it.
Yeah. It would
Let's
take
aim to do
forever.
that. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It would. It would. But it's fun to see, even just if you just look at it from like a simple standpoint, like objects of attachment, like we've over exaggerated the positive qualities of
Yeah.
something, right? And then we begin to look at it and we see, impermanence, right? We see no self. We see the emptiness of it, right? And a lot of times it is this sort of like, especially like with attachment, that's, for me, this feeling, this antidote of counterbalancing that, like, I recognize, oh, I'm exaggerating these positive qualities. Let's
Mhm.
just look. One of the many antidotes is to then look at the negative aspect of that same thing, whatever it is, right? Like, oh, I really, really want that cheesecake, right? I'm exaggerating the sweetness and the satisfaction that I'm going to get and the flavor and all of that. But I'm not really actually thinking about the rest of it.
Yeah.
What it's going to
Right.
do to my heart health, what it's going to do to, my body, my all of that, and how it's impermanent and fleeting. And I'm not going to be I mean, my level of satisfaction will be the same, afterward.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe even like worse.
Yeah, maybe even worse. Exactly that.
Yeah.
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 This is good stuff.
It is. Yeah. And to really, I am reminded often of how important it is to familiarize ourselves with these practices, that really let's just do this over and over, right? Um, so investigation, examination, um, and yeah, like I like that one that you chose where it's like your little thingy in the moment, right? It's like this cheesecake, right? This
Yeah.
cheesecake is going to give me bliss and happiness. And that, yeah, it's like we can use every single like little moment of tug or wanting to pull in or wanting to push out and to really kind of yeah, not let anything go. Like,
No,
right? Like
no.
that's what we're being asked to do is like, no, examine everything. Like, is that really what you want to be like creating your mind stream?
That's
Like,
right.
right?
That's right. Bring it all to the path. Turn all the poisons into food, into nourishment.
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Sweet. I love it. And also one thing I wanted to note too. So this person here, say Chilbu Choki Gyaltsen, look at the dates that he was alive, 1121 to 1189. How incredible is it that we have access to these teachings? Not only that, they happened a long ass time ago, but that they've been translated for us. Like I just have to sometimes like I have
Yeah.
to think about that. Like that is incredible. And we should be so, so grateful. Like
That's
precious human
right.
life, like right there.
Absolutely. We are the beneficiaries of the
Oh my
kindness
God.
of others.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Sweet. All
Let's
right.
talk about Tara.
Let's talk about Tara. Tara, I love her. Tara's such a badass. And
What makes her a badass?
so she's just like so Tara is a liberator, right? All the Buddhas are liberators. But one thing about the Tara practice and specifically like the 21 Taras, like her all her different manifestations, um, she's got every approach that is needed to intervene or to support sentient beings. She has access to every single one of those interventions. She's and sometimes it comes out, sometimes it's very motherly, right? Like these kind of motherly approaches to support beings. And then other times it's these very fierce approaches, like actually, no, you need to stop, right? Like stop what you're doing.
Right.
Um, and so I I'm so inspired like to cultivate all of the different approaches that, you know, Tara represents to support sentient beings. Because I'm kind of like I a little bit veer towards like, oh, I'm just kind of like I'm just gonna listen to people. I'm not really gonna make any suggestions. Like I'm just gonna kind of hear them out. But I think what happens is that I fear people not liking me if I'm gonna kind of like push back a little bit on, you know, what they're doing or if their actions are harmful. And so I love Tara because I know that she can intervene in the most helpful ways no matter what, while not letting people like kind of engage in things that are destructive to themselves.
Right, right.
So that's why she inspires me because I think, you know, I'm coming from like a behavioral health approach, right? And so I'm just like, oh, I she would give me like all the interventions. So that's a little bit, yeah, how I feel about Tara and what she represents. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, she is the mother of all the Buddhas, right?
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I like the fact that you pointed out that even though, compassion is the name of her game, it's not weak. It's
Yeah.
incredibly powerful, right? And it's swift as well, right? Like it's
Tara,
not,
swift female warrior.
that's right, Tara, swift female warrior. I mean, my God, like she's going to do what she needs to do, whatever it is, to manifest that compassion, right?
Yeah.
The yeah, yeah, wonderful. I absolutely love. I'm only really familiar with green Tara, right? I know that
Mm,
Tara has many different forms, at least 21 within our tradition. Different traditions speak about it differently, but Tara has these different colors and different attributes based upon those colors and mudras and postures and all of that. But green Tara is who I'm most familiar with. I think largely because she's a focus of our teacher, right? So we
yeah.
have this I know that he's absolutely loved Tara and Green Tara in particular, from a very young age.
Yeah.
I think probably from his initial introduction to Tibetan Buddhism, right? Um, but there's this Terma treasure, right? That is his that's in at the Lions Roar Dharma Center. It's this beautiful statue that's in there's like a Tara shrine room, and there she is. There's a really unique depiction of Tara that's quite different from all the rest. For one, she looks different than the other Taras, right? And unlike all the other Taras, she's holding a little baby,
Yeah.
right? And I love that the baby, yes, it's a Buddha baby, right? But it's also that's you. She's holding you,
Yeah.
right? That's
Yeah.
I love that, right? And there's something so gorgeous about that. And then, within that same shrine room, there are these, the traditional like Tanka type paintings of green Tara. And I think they're so beautiful. And then there's this like little writing on the wall that describes Tara and how she protects people.
Yeah.
And I just there's something so gorgeous about it, right? So she was definitely is definitely the first sort of non-Shakyamuni Buddhist figure that really captivated me.
I would say so the same. And you know, around the time that I started going to Lions Roar, I'm pretty sure that maybe they had just done a green Tara empowerment, because there were still kind of green Tara sadhanas available. And they had started to do, I'm pretty sure we're doing like an ongoing Tara practice. Um, but I remember showing up and doing green Tara with a few folks. And Dirk was there, and I think a couple other people were there. And I remember like because sadhana's the language can be really intense, right? Like it's very imaginal. Uh it's a little bit bizarre. Um, and I remember just feeling like this is so weird, but I want to do it. Like why? And I do think that there was, there's this kind of like attractive energy that Tara has, where of course she's really beautiful, um,
Gorgeous.
right? But she's also just like the for whatever reason, whenever I see a Tara Tonka, it's her eyes.
Mm.
Like this very, like she's just so um looking at you with so much love. And and I think that was one of the things that really drew me in. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, it was great. What was your first experience with Tara? Do you remember?
Um, I would say I had a really powerful experience early on with Tara, where I think it was probably the first mantra that I learned. Actually, so I think it was even before Om Mani Padme Hum, right? I'm pretty sure it was the first Buddhist mantra that I learned. And this is like super early on, and I had this experience where I hadn't done any sadhanas, no empowerment, no nothing like that. No 21, no praise, to the 21 taras, nothing like that. I just knew the mantra, and I was really into mantras, and so I'd gotten familiar with it, and at one point I had this like it was a crisis, not a spiritual crisis. It was just like a sudden shift in life circumstances that were like a million things all of a sudden kind of like broke loose, and there was chaos, and I was like so like it happened very very quickly, and I had no idea what to do. I just like I don't I like beyond me, right?
Mm,
Like, and I had to act quickly, but I didn't know what to do. And so I remember coming home on this day, and I thought, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna see what happens here. And so I went into at the time my meditation spot was in a closet, right?
yeah,
So
yeah, that's right.
so I went into the closet, and I just sat there doing Tara mantras, right? And it was quite devotional. Like I was really just like, please, like help me. Like I don't know I have no idea what's going on or what to do. And then all of a sudden, there was a knock on the door, which was unusual because everyone respected my like meditation space and whatever. And I was like, okay, who's at the door, And it was my partner, and she said, hey, I know you're busy. I know, I get it. But can we talk for a minute? And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. And so I came out, and she said, look, how about like this? Here's the solution. And she just
Mm,
like laid it out for me. And it was the most it was it was effective. It was perfect. It was like there was no doubt that what she was saying was the right approach to the problem in the moment. And
yeah.
what I enjoyed about it was, here I do this Tara practice. The answer comes to me in a female form.
Mm,
And it
mhm.
came so quickly that it came in the middle of doing the mantras,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it was that really kind of blew me away. I was kind of I was sold on it at that moment.
right?
And
Yeah.
yeah, and ever since then, so I've had this little statue, this little Tara. I don't know if it's actually Tara, by the way. I have this little statue that is Tara to me.
Yeah.
It was given to me as a Tara, and she sits right outside the front door, and for the longest time, I would make daily offerings to her,
Mm,
like I'd go out for walks, and I would like pick flowers or whatever it was, do incense and things like that. And I always found it to be exceptionally helpful because what I noticed, so she helps with obstacles, right? Both the worldly obstacles, right? Like the kind I was just talking about, and spiritual obstacles.
yeah.
Like those afflictions we were talking about with that Lojong slogan. And what I think is really cool about it is that if you are sincerely doing some type of Tara practice, even if just reciting the mantra, you can't help but think, like even the iconography with Green Tara, where, her leg is, she's not seated in full meditation posture. She's
Yeah.
meditating, but her leg is out. She's ready to go to work
Activity.
for you, right? She's
Yeah.
ready to jump into action. And when you meditate on that, when you think about it, there's this natural sort of like, oh, how am I embodying those
Mm.
characteristics rather? And so normally, like if I'm stressed out, I'm fearful, I'm worried about the future, I'm worried about what's going on, I'm worried about something. That's because it's about me,
Right.
right? This
Yeah.
little self right here is worried about itself. And
Mm.
so by reflecting on Tara and her characteristics, her attributes, I can't help but that softens. That little sense of misperceived self begins to soften, and as it softens, the fear softens, the anxiety softens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's real medicine.
Absolutely. It really is. Yeah, it totally turns the mind. Um, I've heard that, so like those spiritual obstacles, being broken through, Tara is also very much like brought in, when dealing with like financial issues, like, you're saying these kind of like worldly obstacles, um, uh, issues around like getting pregnant, like people will call on Tara. And also what I experienced recently is, issues with storms. So like being in the middle of a storm, and I think, where is it that I found? I'll find it again, but um it was really intense. So this weekend I traveled to Sacramento, and I took a one-way rental car down, and I stayed the night in Oregon, and the next morning I left real early, around like 5:45 to get on the road, and I'm driving along and past the border and get into like weed area, like if you're
Oh
familiar
yeah.
with in California, and I see like on the sign, the road sign, that the lights are flashing, and it's like, check to AM like 110 to, look for road conditions, right? And so I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, I knew there was going to be a storm. Um, I I don't really want to check because I think it's just going to psych me out. So I'm just going to keep going. We're just going to keep going. Um, and come to like just above Shasta area, it starts snowing,
Oh.
and like good snowing, like it's really coming down. It's heavy flakes. I've got the wipers on like kind of full blast. And so I turn off and go to a rest stop, use the restroom, call my partner. um and I remember feeling like, actually kind of scared. Like I was
Right.
like, because I really don't have much experience driving in the snow. I've done it once or twice, but it was like not thick snow at all. Like, um, and so I was like anxious.
Mm.
I was even considering like, should I just like call Llama and tell him like I can't do it, like I'm not gonna make it, like, um, but I all of that was much more subtle than I think it would have been several years ago. Like, before the Dharma, I would have been like, I just can't, like, I can't. I'm turning around, or like, like I'm just staying here. I'm now staying in weed for several days or something, like literally, I think that like my anxiety used to be so bad. So it was talking to me, but it was like kind of down here, right?
Yeah.
Um, so what I did is that I reminded myself, like, hey, wait a minute, you've seen someone else do this before. Like, do what they did, right? Drive in like the two tire tracks, go slow, maintain your speed, but go slow. And um, and also call on Tara, like
Oh
start
yeah.
doing Tara practice. And so what I did, I tried to remember as many of like the 21 taras, the like the recitation that you can do. So I, would recite the ones that I could remember, and then just did a ton of tara mantras. And what shifted in me was that I gradually became more and more confident.
Uh,
Um, and and more, just like my heart rate went down. Um, I realized that I could do it, I was doing it. And Tara was just there. It was, she was in me, right? And I was able to get through it. And it was actually, yeah, it was somewhat intense, but really, really beautiful. Like how she came to my aid. So she is like, if you're ever in a storm, like
yeah.
really, like allow Tara to center you, because she will.
Yeah, no joke, no joke, because even though it is oftentimes viewed symbolically, the various things that Tara protects from, it's also meant to be both. It's
Yeah,
not just symbolism. So the storms, the fires, snakes,
right,
right? Yeah,
right.
illness,
Right,
floods.
those are the eight dangers, right? So there's the lion of pride, the elephant of ignorance, the fire of anger, the snake of jealousy, the thieves of distorted views, which I really like that one, the chain of miserliness,
Ooh.
um, the flood of attachment, the carnivorous demon of doubt. So I love that she protects against all of these things. These just like these storms of attachment, and
Yeah.
um that we don't have to even go there. Like we don't have to let our mind be so overwhelmed. She's right there to help us. And so it was really lovely to actually.
I'm so glad that thank you for sharing that story, Jack.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. There's a literal storm. You call on Tara and it works, right? Like
yeah.
she's there. It's like Tara, take the wheel.
It really, honestly, it felt like that. It
Yeah.
totally did.
Yeah, well, nothing wrong with that. I mean, like,
Yeah,
if you're anxious and you're stressed and your palms are sweaty and your mind is a wreck, you're not going to drive nearly as well as if you're calm and steady and collected and focused.
right. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. No, I love it. You know, she's kind of like the Buddhist patron saint of travelers, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
she's known, like if you're traveling, even if it's not in a storm, like let's say you're afraid of air travel, right? Which would be actually quite appropriate because so she's at least green Tara. Right? The reason why she's green is because that's representing the air element, right?
That's right.
So if
Yeah.
you're doing some air travel, might not be a bad idea to recite some of her mantras, right, or her mantra rather.
Yeah.
That would be super helpful. The other thing that's kind of related to travel is that in Sanskrit, the name Tara means star, and it's
Mm.
kind of like like the North Star being like a guiding beacon for travelers, right?
Yes.
So in
Yes.
the same way, she guides um, people who are wandering beings, let's just say.
Right. Yeah, no, I love that. I didn't know that about Tara meaning star in Sanskrit. That's really beautiful.
Yeah,
Um and yeah, it makes so much sense that, she's our guide while we are on this path, which for most of us is going to be a gradual path. Um there's going to be moments that we feel totally lost, and just in total chaos or disarray,
yeah,
and just keep coming back to it. I think that's where like um, some faith can come in,
oh yeah, yeah,
um, and what it ends up being faith in is those very qualities that are our nature. And so Tara is representing these incredible qualities of courage and
That's right.
endurance, right? And yeah, engagement with our world. And so when we're calling on Tara, we're calling on those qualities to come
That's
out
right.
in ourselves.
That's
Um,
right.
and so taking faith in that is really, taking faith in ourselves. Like, what Rinpoche always says is like, you can do it,
That's
right?
right. That's
You
right.
can
What
do
you
it.
exactly what you mentioned are the, those are enlightened qualities,
Yeah.
right? And so like, Tara, she's what I love about it is, yeah, she has these qualities, but if you think about it, they're active, they're dynamic, right?
Yeah.
The swift female warrior, right? Like she is not just like lounging around, right? She is taking action. We could do that too, right? We can engage our enlightened qualities, engage them and make them actually work, right? In any moment, whether we're talking about dealing with actual worldly issues, storms and whatnot, or we're dealing with spiritual issues, right?
Yeah.
Like I absolutely love that. And I think that, so my Dharma name is Yeshi Trinley, right?
Yeah.
And Trinley means enlightened activity, which I'm working on. I would like to live up to that name. And so Tara practice, I think, is quite important to me because she's so strongly associated with this enlightened activity that I think it's really helpful for me to like to try to work with it and live up to that name.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and what's funny is that my Dharma name is Yeshi Laki, which means goddess of joy. And so I mean, I definitely see Tara as a goddess of joy. Even
Absolutely.
her fierce, her fierce manifestations, there's joy in that, right? Because she's doing it for the benefit of all beings. And so yeah, maybe that's also why I'm very attracted to Tara, is because
Heck yeah.
joy is one of the qualities that I do not necessarily like. I'm not naturally kind of um, uh, uh, I don't embody that as much, or at least I haven't in my life, and so I think that's why it was given to me. And man, when I've been kind of consistently doing tar practice, I feel that joy, what I was talking about earlier with like just loving people, like really,
Uh-huh.
really feeling touched by people, and wanting to be there for them. And so yeah, yeah, goddess of
It
joy, Tara. Yeah.
joyfulness, another enlightened quality, right? That
Yeah.
we certainly want to embody. And you're right. When you find that heart opening, as a result of these practices, you'll definitely discover more joy. I was wondering, you mentioned Geshe Sewang. Do you remember what he said about what we might imagine or what we might think to ourselves when we're doing the Green Tara mantra?
I don't know.
So this was really helpful to me. He said that when we're, doing Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Swaha, he said, as you do it, you want to think to yourself, may all beings be freed of dualistic views. May all beings be freed from fear. And may all beings be made healthy in their body and their mind. Right. And so
Mm,
as you're doing it, it's helpful to sort of recognize that you'd like that intention, set that intention. And
yeah.
even if you can't, even if you're, maybe not into visualizing or that's not where you're at, it is kind of nice to bring in a nice soft green color with it.
Mm, that's really cool. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was helpful to me.
Yeah.
I found that advice was really good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and may all beings be made healthy in body and mind. I can, sometimes when I'm doing a visualization practice, I'll kind of imagine, different beings throughout the world. Maybe it was someone I saw today just walking past, or someone I saw on the news or whatever, and just kind of imagining that person. And in the Tara sadhana, you are imagining like other beings receiving Tara's blessings, right? And so there is this quality, right, of like really extending it out
Yeah,
to as many people as we can, which is a little bit like Tonglen too, right?
yeah, indeed, indeed.
Oh, sweet. Well, Tara, this has been such a lovely conversation about her. I'm really glad we got to do this.
She's sweet. She's
Sweet.
wonderful. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we had the conversation too. It was nice to reflect back on my practice with Tara and what she means to me.
yeah, me too. All right. Well, without further ado, I'm gonna go do some Tara practice.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.